Hey, Dr. Brett here. I'm back with Max Tilute, professional soccer player, and we're doing a discussion on life and business and sports. And in particular, it sounds like you've got a new contract in the works here for soccer. Tell us about that. How's this work, this Major League Soccer thing?
I don't know how the Major League Soccer works because I haven't played in there, but it's a lot of talks between agents and coaches.
Gotcha.
Basically, and it's like the more well connected you are with, the more connected your agent is, the more contracts and the better options you're gonna have.
Gotcha. But how do you choose an agent in
It's hit
in
and
the
miss.
world of professional soccer?
It's hit and miss. You know, there are a lot of agents that talk big but don't produce, and there are other agents where they're sought after greatly and they can pick who they want more.
Gotcha. And so where are you at are you in the later stages of your career as a soccer player? So
Ooh.
how does this, are you in the middle, later stages? Where are you? And how do you make these decisions, to try to get to the next level or to move on and transition? How do you figure this stuff out? It's not easy.
Physically, I'd say I'm in the middle,
Okay.
but mentally, I'm definitely at the end.
Okay. So mentally, that means you're starting to feel like you paid your dues and
Yeah,
you're
like
tired emotionally?
not tired, but it's like they are. You know, when you're young, you want to try different things. You want to do this, and this.
Yeah,
and this.
totally.
There's a time frame you have in your head of where you want to be at certain points in your life.
Right.
You know, and it's like, oh, I wanted to play this game for this. Oh, now I want to do this. And it's like, in life, you have to choose one thing and seek after, and then go after it. Otherwise, if you divert yourself too much, you're not gonna achieve anything. You know. So, I've played soccer. I've enjoyed it. I've gotten to do with it what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, it's for fun, but not, professionally.
Gotcha. So you're ready to move on. So
Yeah, definitely.
how do you figure out this moving on thing? Because a lot of people struggle with life transitions. Like that's a huge part of what I do as a psychologist, sports psychologist. I help people either create a transition or manage a transition or maybe even redirect their energy and, give it 2 more years or whatever it is, full out and see what happens. So in your case, how do you manage this transition? What's working and what's not? How, give us some guidance here.
And I think it's just looking at life in general. Where we are here in the United States of America, we're better than a lot of people in the world. Like, so for us to complain about what we have, like if even the homeless people here in America live better than other people, normal people in other countries.
Right.
So when you look at it in the bigger scheme of life, even if you're broke, even if you're homeless, even if you have no car, the possibilities are endless.
Right.
So it's just about being able to choose where to go. So for me, I don't really get stressed about it.
Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like, but that's not that common, right? Is that partially being Haitian or what part of these? Because what I'm hearing is you have perspective that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
Right. Most people sweat transitions. I have a job in part because people sweat transitions massively. I would never have a job if it was, maybe I could help you take your game to the next level with the meditation and mindfulness and presence and visualization and breath work and other things. But really, it sounds like you're managing this transition pretty freaking well. Is that true, or are you just acting real cool for the camera?
Nah. I wouldn't put an act together. But look, it's not hard. We just make it hard. People make it hard, especially in our society. Like, we focus on the negative parts. We focus on what we have to do rather than what we have. So it's like, when you travel, you learn things.
For sure.
Traveling rearranges, shows you different ways of life. And I've been all over the world. I've seen how different people live. And I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay with everything. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so there's this level of self-acceptance, right?
I think it's realization. Because it's like, no matter what you think the world should be, no matter what you think the world is, there is a different way that the world actually is.
I agree with you. I lived in China last fall, and I lived in Thailand last winter, and I've lived other places. I've lived all through the United States, and I've often said this a lot, that people don't really realize until you live elsewhere or you experience elsewhere for a significant period of time that there are different ways of living, right? But what you're talking about is emotionally sophisticated, right? That's a little bit, yeah, you have perspective, but what you're really talking about is not sweating life. I feel like you've learned to not sweat life. And you're saying that your travel experiences, and I'm not saying there aren't times when you go through ups and downs, obviously, but the way you're communicating, you're able to sort of be okay with a giant life transition. And a lot of people are not. Now, you're saying your travel experiences have helped you with some of that or a lot of it. Can you break it down even further for people? Because I think it's helpful.
Yeah.
What are those travel experiences that have taught you that, like, to be okay wherever you are, more or less? I feel like that's what you're communicating. Find a way to be okay wherever you are.
What's your favorite fruit?
Good question. I like I've got these grapes in the refrigerators that are amazing. It's not my favorite, but those are great.
All right, so let's pick.
Strawberries are good.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, good.
So, you love grapes. If I tell you pick between a grape and a banana, you're gonna choose a grape. If I tell you to choose between a grape and
depend on the day.
Depend on the day.
Okay. Because context matters.
Between a grape and an apple, for right now we'll say you always pick grapes. All right. For
now.
So
because all things change.
The way it works is if you travel.
Yeah.
If you stay in one place, you're always gonna have that grape.
Right.
If you travel to Spain, you can taste some of the banana. If you go to China, you can have some of the apple. But somebody who never traveled outside and got to taste those different things will always wish for those different things.
Right.
So you've traveled, you've gotten all these different things. At the end of the day, I told you to pick something. You picked grapes because that's the one you want.
Right.
Right? You didn't pick bananas. You didn't pick anything. You chose because you've experienced and seen other things.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So in life, it's like we always want to do things, and that's what drives us. We always want to achieve something, always get something new, always do something else, but to be okay with where you are because of what you've done and because of where you're going to go is different.
Okay, but that's wonderful. It's amazing, right? I love the way, I like the way you think.
I tried to make it make sense, but it didn't make sense.
No. I like the way you think and communicate, right? And again, you're trying to, help people be okay with wherever they are, in large part because the more you experience, right, the more clear you are about what you like and don't like, and because you've experienced so much, you're more clear in your choices.
Yeah.
But some people get stuck, right? They do. They just get to a place where they feel frozen. They might have had a fair amount of life experience, but something gets in the way. Anxiety, fear, whatever that is. What advice, how do you help people that are stuck and they aren't able to make this transition as smoothly as someone like you that has kind of decided that I'm going to be okay wherever I go because I believe in me at such a high level that I'll figure it out. I feel like you're saying that. I'll figure it out. But some people don't have that same kind of powerful self-belief, let's just say, or the muscle behind it, the skill behind it. So how do you help people that are stuck? It's a hard question. It's not an easy question.
There's a way I want to explain it, but it's not going to make that much sense, so I'm trying to
try it. I'm good at making things make sense, even if they don't make sense. If that makes sense.
That was good.
Okay, cool.
You forget.
About the people that are stuck. What do you say?
Okay.
How do you? Because you're married, you've had a lot of experiences in relationships. I know you have. You're a good-looking guy. You're smart. You're personable, right? I'm sure you've been in relationships where the woman is stuck, or when you were stuck somewhere along the way in the past. So how do you help people that are just jammed for some reason?
Everybody in this life is trying to do the best they can.
Do you truly believe that? Because some people would argue. Okay.
100%.
Even the people that are chopping people up?
100%.
Okay.
Because at one point in their life, they were taught that chopping people up was good.
I hope not. I hope that's not true. I hope that's not true. I totally hope that's not true.
Man. You have to.
Okay. somewhere along they
somebody
learned,
up is
they probably
so
started chopping up
traumatizing.
dogs first,
You know,
and then like they made it
That's
to
what
people.
I'm saying.
But anyway, okay,
At one
anyway.
point, it became okay for them to do.
For sure. Okay, that I'm not going to disagree with.
Yeah, so
They
it's like,
made it okay.
they
Whatever.
made it okay. So it's like they're trying to like even we have gangsters, we have terrorists, we have all these
Yes, we
people
do.
are driven for success, and whatever they see as their way of succeeding, that's what they're gonna try and achieve.
Okay.
So it's like right now you're doing the best you can, the best you think and you know how to do.
Yes, for the most part. I'm a little bit hard on myself at
No,
times.
because
Right? So sometimes, like...
I say that because if you truly know something, then you will know to do it.
Gotcha.
You can have the knowledge of something.
Okay, so how does this, I feel like you've got this sort of like philosophical Haitian in you somewhere, right? Somewhere in here is this deep philosopher guy, right?
Yeah,
and so, like, how does this help the person that's stuck?
Okay. Nobody knows what they're doing. You're going to ask somebody for advice. Yes, that's getting another opinion, but they don't know you. They don't know your emotions. They don't know your feelings. They don't know what you've been through. We both can sit here and record a video, but we have two different views on recording this video. So his view may be right, my view may be right, but they're both right.
Interesting.
But I have to see from my point of view. So life is about learning from other people, taking the advice for what it is, and then making the best choice that you can with what you know.
That's really well said. So that's interesting. We're going to break apart a little bit about what he said there. Because a lot of times one of the things I talk about as a psychologist and even a sports psychologist is people do too much projecting, right?
Yeah.
So if you go outside of yourself for answers, right, a lot of times you can get off path because now you're asking another human being what they think is best for you. And most of the time, only we know what's best for ourselves. And that's why when you learn to get a little bit more quiet, right? You learn how to calm your mind and you get a little more present. A lot of times you can feel like the right path, so to speak, right? And so the next step is to get unstuck by having the courage to take action. Even little actions, right, can get you unstuck.
Exactly.
In your situation, you're clearly not stuck, but you have a big life transition coming somewhere in the next year or two, it sounds like, right?
That's the thing, man. It's like, okay. I feel like the transitions happen every day.
I'm not going to disagree. Sometimes I laugh when I agree. It's just a habit of mine.
Yeah,
right? So
but
it's like I like this guy's natural wisdom, right? So
they do, like, tomorrow is a different day. Time moves on. So it's like people take different lengths of time to figure out different things. So if you're going through emotional trauma, you have to try and learn to accept it. You have to think about it. This is not a doctoral...
It's okay because I'm going to translate because I am a licensed psychologist, so I will translate.
So you have to take some time to understand what's going on and to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Now, I may do that in a year. Like, let's say that we go through a divorce. You could get over the divorce in 2 days. I could get over it in a year. So there's different time frames for each person to do different things, but time is always moving. You have to choose when you're going to go from this stage to this stage. So there's a grievance stage, then you have to get back on your feet, then you start succeeding. It's a cycle.
I do think there's a lot of wisdom in what Max is sharing right now. I really do because I'm working with this kid right now who's going through a pretty serious depression. And one of the things I've said to him is that when he gets through this on the other side of it, in a lot of ways he's going to have a more emotional wisdom than most of his college buddies that have spent the whole time that he's going through this depression. They've spent the time in college, but he's going to learn a lot more about aspects of life that you couldn't learn otherwise. And one of the things that I've been trying to teach him is exactly what you just shared, is to stop the fighting it. Like, he's so frustrated by the amount of pain. The pain is the pain. I've been through a lot of pain in my lifetime. I'm sure you have. Some of us learn is pain. It's how we relate to the pain that helps us either get through it sooner or later. So almost like the more we resist the pain, the more we fight against it, the more we struggle, either the worse it gets or the longer it takes or both.
Yeah.
And I feel like your natural wisdom is basically sharing that there are times in life where the transition, it might take one person 2 years to go through a transition, another person takes 2 months for, but that's okay.
It's okay.
Because I almost feel like you believe in past lives and future lives. Like it's just like we're going to have thousands of lifetimes anyway, so don't sweat it so much. I almost feel like you're implying that.
I'm not
Like,
implying that
no,
because I'm a Christian, but
Okay.
I understand the concept. What I'm saying is life goes on, you know, and like you said, I do believe in the afterlife because I'm a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see that as a reward of it. But I just
The
think
reward of it being it having lived a morally
Christian
successful life.
yeah, like that's for me personally.
Okay.
And yeah, like take it a day at a time, a minute at a time. And like you said, that kid who comes out of that depression is gonna know himself a lot more.
That is so true. I mean, that's really true because a lot of times we go through these painful experiences in life, and on the other side of it, we have tons more self awareness because it's not. Most of the time, it's through the adversity, right, that we become better human beings. Not if everything goes well and your sort of life is sort of, you know, like,
Peachy and dandy.
Yeah, peachy. I can't even relate to that concept, but it is peachy and dandy. Like I can't remember the last time it was like, you know, I like flow, and I think flow is earned because I think you get more in the moment, which is what you're trying to share. Like the more in the moment you get, the more likely you are to have life become easier, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever particularly easy.
Yeah.
I think it can be easier and sometimes amazingly fun, in large part because we've done what you just shared. We've done that day at a time thing. We refuse to get ahead of ourselves. You asked me, like when we first, came in, you asked me what's next, and I'm like, I don't know, right? It's like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't, I just got married, so I don't know what the next steps are because we have to figure out the immigration process next, and then where are we heading? Are we heading to California? Or are we going to stay here for a while? I really don't know.
Yeah.
But if you notice when I said it, there was no fear.
Yeah.
I didn't have any fear.
Yeah.
Because I'm also have trained myself to largely stay in the moment, right? Not to get ahead of myself and worry about something that I can't control.
Yeah.
Now, does your Christian beliefs help you with that?
100%.
Letting go of the control? I'm talking about the control piece.
100%.
Yeah.
Because like we sit here and I keep looking out at these birds, and we're all so unique. Like everybody in life is unique. I'm not the same as you. I'm not the same as him.
No, you don't seem like it, but
And then you look at these birds, and not one of them is alike.
yeah.
Then you see squirrels. There's just so much in this life, and there's so much individuality that we all have to do our own parts. Like I can't do the job you do. You can't do the job.
No,
I do.
for sure.
If I do my job well and you do your job well, we become better
Yeah.
as a society.
Yeah.
And it's like the more that we help each other and the more that we work together,
Mm-hmm.
the much better life is gonna be.
I love that. Again, I agree with you 100% on that one. As a competitive athlete, though, I know you've had experiences that have been different than that, right? Where teammates of, supposed teammates don't always work together. How do you handle someone that, isn't wired that way? You have a deep, spirituality and a deep Christianity here that's guiding you, right? And so you have a moral fiber that's deeper than many, actually, some or many, right? And as a result of that, you're more likely to have that spirituality guiding you. But some people, they're gonna freaking push you down the stairs if you're not careful, right?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with those kind of characters?
There were two things I wanted to say.
Okay, sure.
I think the ego gets in the way of a lot of things in life. Like you said, if we're on a team, one of my teammates can want one thing and then I want something else and everybody wants something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like being educated enough to understand that this guy is upset because he didn't score 2 goals because he wants to score 2 goals every game.
Right.
Or this guy is this guy. Like understanding that you can all succeed together if you work together. Mm-hmm. So if I know he wants to score 2 goals and he's going to be happy and he's going to play better defense, and the team's gonna get a little better.
Mhm.
If I'm gonna go score, I'm gonna pass it to him 2 times.
Right.
You know, but it's like that's from me being educated enough to know that's why he's upset, and he's getting upset because of that.
Mhm.
So I feel like education is a big part of it, and
Gotcha.
being like educated enough to understand the human mind.
Right. Well, you're talking about like self-awareness. I mean, right? You're really
Yeah,
it's
and
deeper than just like education. This is like
but self-awareness is education
Yeah.
also.
definitely.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like if you can, if I see what you need and I want something, like I want to win a championship,
Right.
like, and he wants to score 2 goals, I'm gonna help him score 2 goals because that's gonna help us win a championship.
Right.
There can't be a reason why both don't work,
Right.
you know. And so that was one thing I was gonna say, and then the second thing is that you have things in your power you're able to do. So this guy wants to score 2 goals a game, and I want him to get better. If I know that I can get better at defense and make him work harder, then I'll do that. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. Again, you're coming from, not just a team player, but sort of a deeper wisdom again, like a self-awareness that's guiding you, that's saying, look, we're all better off if I manage this guy's ego in such a profound way
Yeah.
that I don't need to like put my achievement first, because if he gets what he wants, a lot of times that'll help all of us.
Yeah.
That perspective is fascinating. It's awesome. It's amazing. But sometimes it doesn't always work that way, right? Sometimes it gets a little more complicated because sometimes the guy's not happy with 2 goals, right? It's like, meaning, right, there are people that are incredibly selfish, right? So how do you deal with characters that are sort of at the next level that don't even, what about a character that doesn't even belong on the team, but somehow is, he's disrupting the whole energy of the team because he's so freaking selfish. What about that character?
So, no, it's funny because I've been through this before.
Oh, I'm sure.
So what you do, like what I did, I don't know if this was right, but I acknowledged it to him.
Really?
To the guy, I was like, listen, I know you get this. I know you get upset because you don't do this, you don't do that. If you don't get the ball this many times, you get upset. So, like, I brought it up to him and I made a joke out of it with him.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there were, words being exchanged around the team, things were being said, but I went to him and made a joke out of it.
Right.
So, like, for him, he and I, we had an understanding that I knew he was being selfish, and I knew why he was doing it. I understood it.
Right.
And so we were able to talk about it, and slowly he got away from it.
That's pretty cool.
But in a joking manner.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. And again, that's very sophisticated stuff. But there are times in life where self-expression, I'm a huge believer in self-expression, right? And working things through, talking them out. If you can do it in a clever way, that's amazing. But there are also times in life where it just doesn't have any value. Someone's going to get really defensive and get aggressive on you. Yeah. This particular guy didn't. You manage to figure it out in a way that worked. But there are other times when people get really aggressive. I'm sure you've had ex-girlfriends that had no, reason to them. Meaning, like, you brought up something in a nice, clever way or whatever, and they threw the kitchen sink at you. So, right? We've all had experiences like that, not just with women. I'm not trying to say that, it's just women.
Yeah.
Men get really aggressive, defensive too, right? So we all do. Most people do anyway. How do you handle, like, intensity at that, like, where it's not reasonable, where someone is just so freaking, unmanageable in their selfishness or their need or their greed or whatever it is, their desire? How do you handle that?
I'm
not asking any easy questions.
Learn how to fight.
Learn how to fight, yeah.
No.
Okay, no, I agree with you. There are
yeah.
times in life when, even as a Christian, you got to learn how to fight.
And
right?
I say that not in a way to, like, go fight somebody, but if I'm sitting, if we're talking, I'm trying to reason with you, but you don't see it as that, and you don't understand what I'm saying, you may get aggressive.
Yeah.
So I have to be able to defend myself.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk to somebody, you just gotta try and get it through to them. It's not gonna take the first time. It may take 10 years for somebody to understand something simple, but if they do get
if
aggressive,
it's a friend or close friend or a family member, maybe it's worth the 10 years. But if it's not a close friend or family member, maybe it's not worth even another day.
Yeah, you guys can coexist, but it doesn't have to be, like What's up, dude?
What's up? Yeah, you're never gonna be great friends.
Yeah.
What questions do you have for me, just out of curiosity, before we wrap up our experience together?
I've been in defensive mode this whole time.
Shoot! I didn't mean to get you in defensive mode. I'm just like, I'm curious like you are, though, in all fairness. You are a curious guy.
So for you,
yes. See, I knew he'd rally in a
Right.
heartbeat. Right?
So with doing all this paperwork, what's the greatest hindrance for you right now? What do you want to do?
What do I want to
with
do?
the immigration? Like, well,
then we just need to get her green card going, and then we're going to figure out whether we're going to live in, probably. I'm probably going to go back to bi-coastal in some way. I like Southern California. I miss Southern Cal.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a taste of it. You've lived in San Diego. I know that, and now you're headed to Florida. It looks like. So for me, the travel. It looks like we don't know yet. Everything's open. Like, I don't want to put a contract in front of them. Don't sign this or sign that. Anyway, but look, I like travel. I've talked about this a lot. You and I, one of the things we share in common, similar souls that way, is we like to experience life. And so I like the idea of being either in Thailand for a month or two a year, in maybe Southern Cal for a little while, and then in Connecticut. I love the summer in Connecticut. It's amazing. I'm not a big fan of the cold, so, it gets a little narrow here. So, probably the next steps are travel. We're in no rush for children or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I want to create this Dr. Brett thing that we've been working on for a long time, too. So there's just a lot that, and then the other day I had a great golf round, so now I'm all fired up. I just want to play better golf.
Yeah.
I never practice. I want to practice because, even like an hour a week would be fun to just practice, because I get lit by, when things by execution. I love the process of executing in life. I just like it. I like getting shit done. Feels good.
So when you're not able, you want to go to Cali before the snow hits.
I do, although my wife, which is a weird thing to say because I've never had one before, but my wife, she wants to experience the cold, but she has no idea what the cold is coming from a culture that is between 80 and 100 degrees every freaking day. It literally is. So she says she wants the cold, but she has no idea. It gets very cold in the winter, January anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just dark, and I don't like the cold in the dark. Probably I'd go to South America or something where you don't even have to do, that'll be light, right? Because May and June are my favorite months because I love that, 14, 16 hour days. Life is better when the days are longer.
Yeah, there's more sun out.
Yeah, so maybe that's the idea in the future, is to spend the, summer in the States or whatever, in the winter.
60.
Yeah, and just go to longer days all the time. Maybe check out South America or something, or Australia or something really cool. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm going to let life take us to a certain extent too, because I'm not a control type. I like spontaneity and flow. And that's tricky because when you run a business, you have a lot to do that you just have to manage and execute on. But I also like the, allowing life to take me. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are so scheduled and so planned that they don't allow the spontaneity of life. So that's part of my intention anyway.
I was gonna say earlier, I think having the freedom in life makes you rich.
Freedom. 100%. Which means also, to a certain extent, pesos, right? Money gives you a certain amount of freedom, right? So having the flow that way too, right?
Yeah.
I call it inviting pesos. I think it's a smart thing to do. You invite the pesos, which means you create some kind of vehicle to have cash flow so that you can fund the freedom, the travel, the experiences, and if you decide to have children, you don't, sweat buying diapers or whatever it is.
It's crazy, man.
It is crazy. All right, Max Toulouse, pleasure to have you.
Nice
Good to see you.
Again, man.
Thanks a lot. I'm Dr. Brett, and I'm here with Max Toulouse.